Welcome to Relationships Ain't Easy, where we talk about how to approach relationships and how to work at relationships. Because if you do that, even though they're not easy, they're more than worth it. So we're in a series talking about creating strong first impressions. So what do I mean when I say a strong first impression? Is, that old saying, put your best foot forward. See, when you make a first impression, and I go more in depth in this in my last podcast, but first impressions last, right? And so I did some research. And first impressions can last 2 to 4 months. And according to that research, they can last 2 to 4 months. And even though you're doing something that like contradicts what they think about you, like the perception they get of you because of that first impression, it takes 2 to 4 months to break that. So what does that mean? So if the first time they see you, I don't know, for some reason you're in a rush and your hair looks crazy, they're gonna have the impression of this person always has their hair looking crazy. And even if they continue seeing you, sporadically over 2 to 4 months, and every time you do it, your hair is on point, that first impression of your hair being, your hair being a mess, it's still gonna be on their mind. And so you're gonna have to overcome that before they really get to see the real you. And oh no, this person actually knows how to do the hair. That was just once a year, once every 2 years kind of thing. So when you're trying to find a husband, you're trying to find a wife, and you're dating, you probably won't get 2 or 4 months with that first impression. And first impressions can happen anywhere. They can happen out while you're shopping. Of course, they happen on apps, and you have maybe a second, and people are just swiping left and swiping right. If your friend introduces you to someone else, you've got just seconds, basically, to make that first impression. And that person can decide whether or not they, want to go on a date with you, or even give you a chance, or give you a number, or whatever. So first impressions are important. So the reason I started thinking of this is because, again, this whole podcast, this whole channel is supposed to help people. I remember myself, there's a lot of things I didn't know. So, they always say the things that you don't know what you don't know. And there was things that I didn't know that were actually like holding me back and like keeping me from being, not being, well, there's things that keep me from being who I wanted to be. But there was things that I was doing and things that I wasn't doing that were like, even though I wanted a wife and I was looking for life and I was trying to, date, I was doing things that was making it more difficult. That was decreasing my chances of actually finding what I wanted, and I didn't know about it. So, I wish someone had told me. So I'm tell you guys. So, one of the things is just not realizing that you have control over a lot of how people perceive you. Ultimately, it's up to them to make the decision, but there's a lot of things you can do to influence the decisions they make about you in those first impressions. Like the example I gave, if your hair is a hot mess, if your hair had been nice like it always was, they wouldn't have had that impression of you. So when I'm saying strong first impression, is not, how to fake it, how to game the system, how to, try to lie, try to pretend to be someone that you're not. It's all about creating actual habits, working on yourself, and then you can present to someone an authentic first impression. It's actually an authentic version of you that you're presenting. And you won't have to fake it because, if you build the habits, that's just who you are. You know what I'm saying? You'll always be on point with how you're dressing. Your hair will always be looking good. You'll be walking around with confidence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And all those things will help make a strong first impression. So it's not about being fake. So what I've seen what used to happen to me, I was trying to date, trying to find someone. And then what I still see is there's a lot of people struggling with this. And, a lot of these people that, from what I can tell, they got hearts of gold, but they're missing things, right? And so if you're out there and, you feel like when you and your friends go out, and you, especially girls, you have that, the group knows that if we were to ask, hey, if you were to go out someplace and a guy came up and talked to someone in your group, who would it be? You guys all know who that would be. And there's a reason for that. I think the lie is that there's just something better about them, like inherently, like they're, I say this all the time, like there was some kind of genetic lottery and that person won it. And whatever it is that they got, if it was looks, if it's, I don't know, how they talk, funny, whatever it is, whatever about that you think that people find attractive, you think, well, they got that. And after a while you start thinking, well, I must not have gotten it because, every time I approach someone, I'm getting rejected. I'm barely getting any hits on any matches on any apps and etc. And so I'm here to help because there's things you can do. And a lot of times people tend to think that it's, the hair color, the eye color, not tall enough, not too tall, whatever. And those things aren't really as important as you think. Again, you can watch my last podcast. I just explained how there is for every physical attribute, tall, short, skin color, eye color, whatever, there's someone out there who's looking for someone with that. So don't be afraid. Be yourself. Now, what really matters is, and we went over this, but it's things that you have control over. Like I said, the example, hair. So, and that's a perfect segue because today I'm going to be talking about hair and your face. So today I'm going to focus on the ladies. So I'm going to help you first, ladies. And again, I want you to hear my heart in this. It's not to be harsh or anything. It's going to be some truth in this. And just like, if you ever had your wisdom tooth taken out, it was painful. They had to, even though they may have numbed your gum, and they may have even, given you, actually just kind of put you out and you went completely to sleep during the surgery. When you wake up, it hurts and you have to have painkiller. But that short amount of intense pain, it keeps years and years and years of ongoing pain from happening. So it's actually better for you. So that's what I'm doing. We're going to perform a little surgery, but it's out of love. So hair and face. Okay, so when I'm saying your hair, obviously it's your hair. How the hairstyle, how you keep it up, how you take care of it. And then your face, for the ladies, is obviously, it's going to be makeup. I'm obviously washing your face, stuff like that. So we're going to go over that. And I'm going to give you some tips and things you can do. Again, this is to create this is to create a strong first impression. So what you want to do is obviously prepare as best as you can. So your face and your hair are one of the first things people see. So here's what I'm going to say to the women. So with your hair, this is what you need to do. And again, this is for people who you haven't figured this out yet. Okay. So your hair is important. You need to find, before I tell you what you need to do, let me explain, kind of give you a little bit of proof of why it's important. So I did some more research and I found a study. It was a study on people doing hair. I'm going to read it to you. Okay. So what happened is they did a study on women and their appearance, facial appearance. So what they did is they started off with the baseline. So it's like a woman's hair pulled all the way back, and then they're taking pictures of them straight up like this. So that was like the baseline. It was like bare, like you couldn't really even see the hair. So it wasn't in the equation. And then they compared that to 6 different hairstyles. So they did short, medium, long hair. Then they did disheveled, and then they did a hair bun. So I guess a little bun on top of your head. And then they also did unkept. So I think disheveled would be like you just woke up and you look crazy. And then unkept would be you woke up and looked crazy for days. So, and they compared all those. And what they did is they asked the men that they were showing to like rank them on these 4 different categories, which would be femininity, youth, health, and sexiness. Okay, so they wanted to see like, okay, how are these men going to rate these women? So obviously a lot of these women were the same woman with just different hairstyles. But anyway, So what they found out was that it, just based off of their hairstyles and how they were doing it, the men perceived the women's youthfulness and they perceived their health differently, just based off of the hairstyles. The same woman, and then they even said that certain hairstyles made that same exact woman, more attractive. So what does this mean? Actually, so what they found out that the long hair was the one that made them look the most attractive. So I say all that to say it's important how you look. You can make yourself look more attractive by just doing your hair. Okay, so this is what you need to do. Take out your notes. Okay, if you don't have this already, you need to have 3 go-to hairstyles. Okay, and you just kind of rotate through them. And then you need to pick 3 hairstyles that fit your budget. If you can't go to the hair salon, every 3 days, every week, then you need to pick a hairstyle that, you can go once a month or once every 2-3 months, whatever it is, whatever fits in your budget. And then you can kind of keep that hairstyle up by yourself at home. You also need to figure out what type of hair you have. If you haven't figured it out, there are 4 major groups of hair, okay? Or 4 categories, whatever you want to say. And everybody's hair falls in between those, and there's different ways to take care of them because you also need to take care of your hair if you want it to look nice. So there's different types of shampoos, conditioners you got to use. Some things put moisture into your hair. Some hairstyles or some hair types need moisture to be put in their hair. Other hair types need to have moisture taken out. Some a comb is better for certain types of hair, and a brush is better for others. So you need to know what your hair needs, even how to dry it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You should know that. Now, for your face, for women, obviously, if you're talking about, eyelashes, eyebrows, but mostly makeup. Now, there's a lot of women out there who I've seen, and you maybe need a little help with your makeup. Okay? I'll say it that way. And it's okay because I think some people don't realize that everyone starts off not knowing, and you have to learn how to do it, because a lot of times the people who are doing it well will make it seem like they just were born doing it, and they try to make you sound stupid if you ask questions. So I'm going to help break it down to you. That's not it. So if you don't have your own makeup routine, and I mean you really know this routine, like these colors match your skin, like these colors look good on you, like you have it down pat where you can do it every morning, because you need to find something that you can do on your own, and you can do it every morning. It's maintainable, fits with your budget. Okay, you need to know that. And if you don't know that, you need to start getting on YouTube, finding these YouTube channels. Unfortunately, I can't help you with techniques, nothing like that. I can just give you some general things to tell you this is what you should be doing, so I can help with that. But if you need some exact tips, yeah, you ain't getting that from me, because I don't have it. But what you do is you go to YouTube, you find some people you like. I'm sure they have all kind of tutorials. You can learn everything on YouTube. So, or if you had a little money, you can go actually to a professional, have them do your makeup. You can kind of watch them, maybe ask them if you can record them. They can give you some tips on maybe what would look good on your face and your skin color and all that. But I would suggest that you start off minimal, whatever you do. I know me personally, I prefer, my wife, and she has more of a natural look. So, but you go for what you want to do. But I would start off minimal, especially if you're on a budget, because if you're doing minimal, then you need less. You need to buy less makeup, and buying less makeup is cheaper. So start off minimal. Again, it's something that you can do on your own. You can do every morning, and just keep that up. And this is going to take a little bit. You're going to have to, if this is a new skill for you, you're going to have to learn this new skill. Okay. So it could take 2 to 3 months before you really get the hang of it. You know what I'm saying? Like where you can just wake up, not even think about it, and you just do it, and you can get it on, let's say with 95% accuracy every morning without even trying. Okay. So you're going to get your hair, and you're going to get your makeup right. And what you'll notice is people will start to notice. You'll see that more people start looking at you. You start getting more compliments. Some people may start hating on you more because they realize that you're looking better. But I would say during this process, find 1 or 2 people who you really trust, who really care about you, who want to see you succeed. But they will also be honest with you. so that you can show them these new hairstyles. Because when you're going through these hairstyles, you're gonna have to try some that aren't gonna be good. You gotta go through the bad sometime to get to the good. Same thing with your makeup. Really ask them, hey, how did I don't know, apply this on my eye? Did it work? Get feedback. Don't just tell yourself that it looks good. Have some people that you trust, so it's not just you lying to yourself that it looks good. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. Again, it's not that you're inherently just ugly or something, or you just missed out on something. A lot of times it's just there's certain skills or certain information and knowledge that you need to know. So it's not like you're ugly, you're just ignorant maybe. And ignorant, not stupid, but ignorant meaning you just lack information about a specific topic. So if this has been helpful for you, please subscribe, like the video. And then if you know someone who is struggling with this and they could use this, I was trying to think about the best way, because I think if you just hand them to them and be like, hey, I think you need this. It may not go over too well, but maybe it's something that you tell a friend, hey, let's watch this together or something, or maybe you bring it up politely. Could be a touchy subject. But anyway, again, thanks for watching the podcast, and I'll see you next time.